Folks, hello.
Hey.
Hey, oh,
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. American, all the ships at sea.
welcome to a very
Hmm.
special Tavern Chat Live. We didn't have one last week because I was at a convention.
We did not.
You didn't.
TotalCon week.
It was TotalCon week, and I was
You were at
totally.
TotalCon. How was TotalCon?
I was in, and I was
Talk
totally
about
not
TotalCon.
there.
What were you, Glenn?
I was totally not there.
Yes. TotalCon was good. It was. Now, I will preface this and without going into much in the way of details. Before TotalCon, I was gifted with an anonymous letter, email, and upon return from TotalCon, I was gifted with an anonymous letter. So
Hmm.
I really feel that some anonymous individual is really thinking highly of me, at least thinking about me a lot. I hadn't gotten anonymous emails in a while, so you know, if that's how you judge success, I mean,
Whenever this person's not the center of attention, he throws a temper tantrum,
yes.
which is why I think the best thing to do is ignore, because
Oh yeah.
I think he's just fishing for compliments or attention or whatever the heck he
What about
looking for.
me?
I don't even understand. I don't understand anymore.
Oh, it's about being relevant or irrelevant, and I guess those lines have been drawn. But I will say, TotalCon has an atmosphere in a lot of ways similar to North Texas, but North Texas doesn't have anybody walking around in kilts. There were some people walking around in kilts, and they had the semi. Oh, we just lost Glenn. I guess
Lost
that's
Glen.
okay. Yeah.
You mentioned kilts. Kilts. He has a problem with kilts.
I'm allergic to kilts. um, on Saturday there is a Star Wars quasi-official reenactment group.
Oh, when the group, yeah, I saw that group. Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Like
That's
I
pretty
don't know,
cool.
Force 402 or some crap like that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So they looked very cool. I took a few pictures of them. They looked really cool. They legitimately pulled it off. Okay, didn't look like a bunch of cosplayers. It looked really cool.
No, those guys, they do their costume. Their costumes are amazing. They do some really cool stuff.
So apparently it was explained to me that they can't make a dime on their appearances
Right, they're not allowed to. Yes,
because
they do a lot of charity stuff. They do a lot of charity stuff because they can't make any money.
yeah. So it was that was cool. I talked with a lot of vendors, a lot of exhibitors, a lot of other attendees. I did not gain a single second. You know, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I go to conventions to socialize. Glenn
There he goes.
is shaking
I
his
guess it's going to be that way today. Restream
Oh
is
boy,
not is
he's
not
going to
like
be in and out.
is not liking me.
It's not liking you, Glenn.
Yeah,
Who
because I
doesn't
didn't go
like?
to, well, it doesn't like me because I didn't go to TotalCon. So
Oh.
Well, it looked like everybody had a good time, Eric. And it's that's a people forget that con's been around almost 40 years, right? It's like 30.
What?
I think this was like the 38th or 39th year.
Yeah, it's like started in the
TotalCon.
80s, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, like
That is
88 or something, 86, 88, something like that. So it's been
Wow.
around quite a while.
And the joke is the hotel has 4 passenger elevators. There's always at least one out of service. This time there were 2 out of service, and then a third went down.
Oh boy.
That didn't last very long. They got somebody in to fix 2 of the elevators at that point, but it was like, oh my god.
That's never good.
No,
How many
and
floors in the hotel?
6 floors because we were on the 6th floor.
That's not It's not as bad as when it happens at North Texas, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I never seen it happen in North Texas.
Well, so not this year or last year, we had the alarms go off. Remember that?
Yes.
I remember that.
So
Yeah, I remember that.
The alarms go off. They shut the elevators down. You have to walk down like 14 flights of stairs, which I did,
Oh Lord,
which was insane.
I was
And
lucky
then-
we were on the 3rd floor.
So I didn't walk back. I was like, well, I'm down here. I'm not walking back up 14 flights of stairs. So I waited till the elevators worked again, went back up, and then the alarms went off again. I said, I'm not going back down.
Right.
Because it was a mistake. It was a problem with the alarms, not with an actual fire or anything. But yes, I walked down that the first time at 5 in the morning or whatever it went off.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
well, I think
ridiculous.
it was 2 years ago when the elevators were out, and that was the year that I left my laptop in the hotel bar outside the hotel bar overnight in its
Oh,
bag because
uh-huh.
I was a little three sheets in the wind, yeah, little topsy turvy.
Did you? Is that the one? Did somebody turn it in? I can't remember
Yeah,
what happened
somebody,
with that.
well, actually, one
Yeah,
of the cleaner turned it into the front desk.
that's amazing. That's cool.
You know, it's the whole backpack with a computer inside.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, now I make
You,
sure I bring this shit right up.
you drunk at a con? My goodness.
Never, never.
Never. Look at
Mm.
me. I'm totally clean.
The
Yeah. Right.
ongoing joke at TotalCon was, "Hey Tenkar, I'll see you at the bar."
Ah,
Why is that a joke? That's not. That's just.
Because that's where everybody figures they can find me. It's like,
That's just.
that's
That's
true.
product placement.
Yeah,
That's your product placement at the bar. Yeah.
Hey, Rory.
I'll be down there later. So,
Tenkar's Tavern. Yes, that's how it
yeah,
works.
Yep.
Rory and Ironcaster, welcome. Much
Oh, by the
appreciated.
way, I finally submitted my Gangbusters game to
I
the con.
saw. Nice. Is that why you called me the other night? Because I couldn't get the phone. When
Well,
you were
I
calling.
was going to call you. Excuse me. I was going to call you because the perpetual problem. How many tickets? Because I always count. I put 7 down there before, and then people say I can't get in your game because you only put 7. Well, that's because I'm the GM. I don't need a ticket. So I don't know how.
I think
tabletop-
you're. Yeah, I can't remember. I think you're supposed to include yourself, Glenn, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Because
well,
what
I
happens
just.
is that's how we sell half the tickets. So we'll put half of them on sale.
Oh,
So half
okay.
of them are actually on sale right now. So if
Okay,
4
well-
people or 3 or 4 people want to get in your game, then now they can. They don't have to wait for April 15th. They can just
Right.
go ahead and do it right now.
Okay, I just left it at 8. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
fine. That
whatever.
works.
You don't need a ticket.
Sell
for
them
your
all
own
out.
game.
I don't care.
Yeah, you
Yep.
don't.
I'm
need a
still going to be
ticket
there.
for- Yeah, you don't need a ticket.
I hope you're there.
to defend your own game. You're
Yeah.
automatically.
I see all these. I see all these people at the table, and I'm just walking by. And say, hey, you going to run this thing? I said, no, I didn't get a ticket. Sorry.
No, Glenn, you don't need a ticket for your own. You don't need a ticket for your
I
own
know.
game.
Yeah, but I think that's the way you're supposed to do it, Eric. I'll have to ask Gary,
Really?
but I think you include yourself because what it does is the mechanism, whatever, puts half of them on sale, and if you have
Right.
an odd number, it has a hard time figuring out what half is. So if you put yourself, it usually ends up being like 7, 8,
Yeah.
or it ends up being an even number.
Like
Whatever's an even number, and then half
every
of
year
them
I put down, I'm going, okay, am I there or not? Okay, now I know. Now I know.
Oh, and I guess I always screwed things up for cons. But
No, I don't know that's the way it used to be when Doug was doing it. I don't know with Gary doing it if that is the way anymore or not. But I remember that's how it was. So
okay.
You don't put 5.5. No.
God damn it!
only half a person can attend. Yes.
Yes, the little kids.
The only pequeño kiddos.
A kinda, only kinda.
But it's going to be a good game as soon as I figure out what's going on.
I still need to put my game up. I'm not 100% sure what I'm running this year, so I need to
So
buckle down and decide.
No BX, really?
Well, it'd be well. Last year I ran a preview of my adventure that's going to come out this year. I don't know if I want to run that again. I ran it last year. I don't know why I would want to run it again. I might go back to just running B1 again. I haven't done that in many years now. Or I may want to run something else. I don't know. I've got lots of possibilities. I have a version of the Lost Temple, Janelle Jaquays' old module that I have a giant map for.
Oh wow!
And I ran it once, a test run at a game day, and it went really well. And so
yeah.
I kind of like that, run that as an actual event, but I need to get my notes together and find them. They're in a folder somewhere.
Okay.
Where? I don't know.
You got anything up, No, Eric, you don't do that anymore, do you?
What?
You don't put games up.
If I'm a special guest at a convention, yeah, I
Hey,
put a
Dave.
game up, a game or two, whatever the con wants me to do. But if I'm
Okay.
just attending, I'm lucky if I put myself into a game.
Hmm.
Again, I spend my con time uh, talking with people, socializing.
which is
Me
I'm the
too.
same way.
Yeah,
It's
me
fun.
too.
Look,
I
I
mean,
put like
I got drafted to play in one of Eric's games a few years ago, and that was fun. And I wasn't normally going to do it, but
mm,
I did, and it was fun. But unless I get drafted into a game, I'm not going to sign up for a game.
last year I put my game up for three sessions, and that's the most I ever did because I usually I do one session and it's like, okay, the rest of the con's mine. This time
Mhm.
I put the thing up twice, so I'm gonna run it 2 times.
okay. I mean, at TotalCon, I was press. So I mean, um, my responsibility. I took a lot of photos, talked to a lot of people, did videos about the con every day. There was one table with OSR guys. They have their own little small publisher.
Uh-huh.
All the short zines. It's all stuff that's also up on drive through sites. I picked up everything they had, so I figured I could do reviews on that.
Mhm.
There's another table had a Cthulhu card game, looks very cool. Only problem is it requires 6 to 12 players, so
Ooh.
that's maybe something that's gonna have
Mm.
to get pulled out at like a convention near a bar, so people can partake and enjoy the game. It looks like it plays pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
So, I
sounds
mean,
like fun.
Mhm.
yeah, no,
Sounds
I mean
like fun.
it it's a lot of that's again what I generally do at conventions. But again, if I'm a special guest, if your name is on the get that guest list, you owe people a game or
I
two,
would. I hear you.
Mhm.
I hear you.
and
I
you
mean,
are.
I thought about not running at all this year, and then I said, special guest, got to do something. Okay.
Yeah, you're obligated, sir. You're
Yeah.
obligated.
Yeah, we got you. We got you by the
Yeah,
balls now,
yeah.
buddy.
Man.
You got to do what we
But
tell you.
but not only that, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, when you run a game at a convention, it's different than running it at home, right? You gotta keep everybody engaged, and you got to keep that thing moving. And there has to be some sort of resolution at the end, either the TPK or
Or,
they get to
or
the
they succeed.
oh they
Whatever.
succeed. It's
Whatever
got
it
to
is.
you don't want it to just end like, well, you didn't get to your goal, but you're all still alive. That's like the worst. Man, people will talk about a
Yeah,
TPK.
yeah, but here's the thing about
I hate
here's the thing
that.
about cons. You can play that way, but have you ever been to a con where you've been there for you've gone for say 5 years and everybody knows you and your
Mhm.
table is full, like 3/4 of the people have played at cons before. I mean, with you before in
Right.
your games. So it's almost like a regular group.
Yeah, but still, unlike a regular group, they're not going to come back next week to finish.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why there's got to be some kind, in my opinion, of a resolution at a con game, and it can be a TPK. I've heard players
Mhm.
talk about TPKs years later when they experienced it. It's like, and it was great. We all fucking died.
See, that's the only thing. Like in the last 10 years or so, that's the thing. You have to end the game. Then I'm so used to like when I used to go to cons in California. It's like they play for the allotted time. Oh, we need the table for another game. Okay, fine, guys. Want to come up to my room or go in the lobby or go in the lounge and we can continue the game. They just keep continuing the game like maybe for the whole con.
Well, but see that is rough if if your players are often like I noticed at North Texas. Players are like, oh, I
Mhm.
got 10 minutes to go to
Yeah,
my next game.
yeah.
People are, you know,
I guess that's more of they do that more now because
yeah.
the other guys are like if they I've seen guys that how many games you playing? One. Took me
Yeah.
4 days.
Well, and I'll be the guy who signs up for one game, so I know Rach gets a little game again. But I don't expect it to last the whole weekend. It better not, because I've probably got other things that I've got to do too. I
Well,
mean,
I'm thinking that GM must be a hell of a GM to keep him there for the whole con.
oh yeah, but it's kind of like what is it? Zach runs Civilization, and it's like a
Uh-huh.
what is it? An 8,
Right.
10, 12 hour time slot.
Yeah, it's a whole day sucker. Yeah,
Can't do
definitely.
it. I tried it once. I
Really?
can't do it again. I'll die of old age before I.
I
It's
mean,
too long.
I'm still trying to get full on gamer down there again for his battle tech because that can suck up at least a whole day right there.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, because he loves.
Well, see, that's one of the that's one of the advantages though with smaller cons have over the big cons because I've been to Gen Con before, and they have very strict 4 hour slots. I mean, when your time's up, you're boom up go. There's somebody that's going to be at that table,
I can
and I
see
have
that.
seen so many people and talked to so many people. They're like, "Yeah, we were about to do the final encounter, and then their time's up, and then they got to leave." And the guy goes, "Okay, well, here's what happened." I have heard that and seen that happen so many times, and that's why at North Texas or in smaller cons do this too. You can have a 4 or 5 or 6 hour or whatever, I don't know, whatever, 8 hour, whatever
Right.
you want, whatever you think it takes to finish your game, because there's nothing worse than a game that doesn't finish, right?
Yeah.
And I've been at North Texas enough I've seen it where the attendance was so low, not that it does that now. It's been so low where I finished my game and I could probably stay there the rest of the afternoon and run 2 more games because there's
Right.
nobody scheduled for this slot
Well, and
for
that's
this area.
that's the great thing. Like there are conventions that when they set up their suite, not only do they have like the the tabletop events sign up, they have like almost like a graph grid showing you what tables are being used when. And when
Right.
they have that, I like to
Uh,
look at those and see, hey, is there a group coming in after me or not? Because I'll be done before we're at my time slot. And anyway, but I want to make sure that I'm not keeping somebody else from setting up. That's rude and horrible. But again,
Mhm.
I always assume that my players have somewhere to be at the end of my time slot.
Uh-huh.
I never assume that, hey, I got a table of 8 and all 8 are going to want to continue running this thing for 2 hours. No, you got to find a way to wrap it in the time allotted, because hey, some of those players might be tempted to stay, and then they're going to dip on somebody else. That's not that's not right.
Yeah.
That's really not fair. And and this is coming from a guy who will often take walk ups at his table. I have no problem if I can fit you physically at my table, and I'm running a game. You're in. I don't turn people away as long as I can physically fit you. You know.
Well, to me, I will turn them away only because I'm very allergic to large numbers of players in my game.
No, and I understand it, but I'm usually running something like Swords and Wizardry Light, and with that,
I know.
I can comfortably do 10 to 12. I'm not Matt Finch or
See,
Bill
that's
Gadd.
why I started putting my games up more than one game because there's going to be people who walk. Can I? Is it no? So hey, but I'm running it. I'll be running it like Saturday. You want to come back? Come back. I'll get you in. That kind of
Yeah.
thing. That's one of the reasons why I'm starting to run it multiple times now.
Uh,
And then there's the tournaments.
the tournaments. I was in a tournament in my one Gen Con, and by the way, my one Gen Con suffered from the fill every time slot registration idea, where there's nothing blank on. This is it was kind of like a high school schedule for your classes.
I can't do that.
There were no there wasn't even a break for lunch. I mean, so and that one of those was a tournament. I made it to the second round.
You're talking, yeah, flashbacks to people like somebody calling me at the room in the middle of the night. Hey, they're running Call of Cthulhu right now. It's like it's 2 a.m. Man, I'm bushed.
I
You know,
can't do it, man. And you need some time
sorry.
to sleep.
Thanks anyway. Just come back to the room when you're done. Whatever. And Gage, Gage is like the master of packing your schedule. It's like, did you leave any time to eat? No.
Yeah, that's
He
always
had
a
11,
rookie, that's always a
I
rookie
think the
mistake.
first or second year he went there, he had like 11 games that he was signed up for.
That was my first North
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake. Always, oh, I'm gonna sign up for a game every single woo. And then Saturday you're like, oh, no care. No more. No moss.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
No moss.
that was
Yeah.
my first North Texas in 2014. I by Saturday night, we were done. We showed up, everybody showed up to their game, and it was Michael Curtis was running. I don't know whether it was a Dallas the RPG or whatever he was going to be running,
Uh-huh.
and nobody missed. No, everybody got. He had like a conference room. It was kind of cool, and we all get there, and the first thing Michael says is, "I'm fucking beat." And then LeBlanc goes, "Yeah, me too." And it's like, say, Eric, what do you feel like? I'm like, dude, I could just curl up in my bed right now. I mean, it was an 8 o'clock time slot too, and we just all moved it to the bar, not to play, just to socialize. Which again,
Done. We're done.
Yeah. Old man. Well, not so old.
and that was my
I'm just
first.
a wimp.
And then I skipped down and what is it? Matt Finch's 8 a.m. game. I already went to the Saturday 8 a.m. game, and I was like,
Oh, is that Xenopus or?
uh, t- Tower of
Oh, the
Yeah.
tower. No, that's the
Myth-
Mythmere Tower. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, and he saw us in the hallway when there was a bathroom break. He goes, Eric, Rach, why aren't you at the game? I'm like, can't do it, man. Burned out. It's like you can't function.
Is Matt still running that tower?
He does not. He's running something else. I
Okay.
don't. Honestly, I don't know what he's going to run at North Texas this year, but I don't think he's run Mythmere Tower in a while.
Yeah, because that's
He
the
used
one
to
that
run it.
Gage was hot for because he played it one year. It's like I can keep my character and come back next year.
Yeah, you can always bring your characters back, which is fun. A lot of people really love that, but I think he has moved on from that now. I don't think he's doing any more Mythmere Tower stuff. So
Okay, well, as
Which is too
long as
bad.
he's doing something.
yeah, he's
You
doing
know.
something. One of the things we had to learn as a convention is to not schedule Sunday morning games, because that was, we learned our lesson the hard way. Our second or third con,
Yeah.
we had literally no one show up for any of the Sunday morning games, including a lot of the guys running the games. Like we're in there sitting there to look at the game room, and it's like empty tables. There's there's one table with two people there going, yeah, our game master never showed up, and another one, a game master, like, well, none of my players ever showed up. Like, okay, why don't you guys get together? And so they did. The guy ended up running an adventure for the 2 or 3 people that showed up for somebody else's game. But we're like, yeah, no more 8 or 9 a.m. Sunday games. This is probably not a good thing to do.
Last year, if he hadn't pulled me into that conference with the podcasting stuff, it's like I was ready to go home.
Yeah.
Because Sunday's kind of iffy with me. It all depends on, well, did I get out of the room? Okay, fine. Maybe I can do something else.
Well, with me, if I fly to a convention, I'm leaving.
You stay an extra day though.
I stay.
Yeah,
but if I can,
that's the best thing to do.
If I drive to a convention, I'm leaving on Sunday. Like we left.
You want to get it done. Yeah, get out of town.
It saves an extra night in the hotel fare, and it just allows you to start, the post-con cleanup.
All right, so but before we get too deep into con talk, which we can talk about anytime, what is you did I did not see your video, Eric. You did a video on the Paizo relationship thing. Tell me about that. What's actually going on here? Because base D&D music, kinks and cantrips. Is everything wrong with modern D&D tourism?
All right, so here they kind of.
That's a good for a podcast. That'd be good. Kinks and cantrips.
Yeah,
I like it.
So there's kind of like a little. Bob the World Builder did a review on kinks and cantrips, and kinks and cantrips is pretty much an adult-only supplement for 5e with new classes, But essentially, it's BDSM brought to your gaming table, and it's
Oh, BS, yes, Book
yeah,
of
yeah, 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 yeah,
BS.
and
Yeah, yeah.
beyond. Okay, there's just a lot of weirdness, and I'm not saying that there isn't an audience for it. Obviously, they found an audience that kickstarted it successfully enough that they're bringing like a second book, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's aimed at the mainstream, and it doesn't mean it should be in like a core WotC book. Paizo, in their
Right.
core NPC codex, decided that they needed gating rules, and which can even support polyamorous relationships. I want to get the
Of
word
course.
right. I don't want
Mhm.
to screw anything up there. I don't want to offend anybody. So if you go to Rumble, inappropriate characters re-rolled, we actually discussed this a little
Wow.
bit. And here's the thing. Okay, Grim Jim does a sexually explicit vidcast. Okay, he does one, and even he's like, Why are there mechanical roles for something that, if you're going to include it, should be part of the role play ROLE
Right.
and not the role play ROLL, because you do know rules like that. Once you codify it, it becomes, and in an official core book, it becomes what? Official. And that's when you're going to have your 13-year-olds going, I want to lay the bartender. It's like, oh, Jesus. All right. Well, her
That's right.
score is,
Yeah.
what's your score?
I mean, it's
Oh,
not. It's not like OSR. The earlier editions when we used to play didn't have a little bit of that, but we usually like put the kibosh on it. And in 1E, you got the prostitute table, and but
the
that's about
hardest table, yes.
but that's about as far as
Nobody role played. Nobody role
No.
played that though.
that's as far as Gary took it.
But here's the problem: is that people used to make fun of
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. They would say, obviously, we're not going to report. Look, it would be uncomfortable. Me as a male DM, if I had a female player, and I'm not going to role play a situation with her, a romantic situation with somebody that's not my wife or just
Right.
some rando. That's uncomfortable for me and probably for her too, I would think. Don't you just roll some dice and say, "Here's what happened." We move
Right.
on to the next day, and that used, like I said, used to be made fun. That used to be made fun of. People say, "Oh my God, we don't role play that kind of stuff.
And we
That's
don't
just
roll for that
disturbing.
kind of stuff.
That's weird."
Do I get
It's
to
all
lay
about
the
DEI.
bartender? Dude, you wake up the next morning and a
consent.
week later you find out you got the clap. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what that's
It's who was the British podcaster
I
who lost
remember
his
that.
whole career over that?
Oh,
Do you remember that
God,
guy,
yes.
Eric? I
Yeah,
can't remember the guy's
because
name.
he had
He was huge. He was big. He was huge.
and he did
huge
he
podcast.
did this one
And then he
live
got
stream where he had robots getting in a sexual encounter, and the players were like,
well, first of all, it was a female
right,
player, and he was really giving her some very uncomfortable stuff. I guess he was trying to push the envelope, push the
Yeah.
plot along. She was not okay with it. And afterwards told him she wasn't okay with it. And I think at that point the damage was
She
done,
left
though.
the game, then started.
Because,
but yeah, to him it was, yeah, but it's
then things got worse.
robots. It's droids.
And so he pretty much lost his entire career because his podcast was done. His career was pretty much done. Everything he did was done. And because he did, it's about consent, man. And you don't have at the game table like that, especially if you're doing a live podcast, you don't have time to worry about that. Why would you role play that? Why? Why did you just say we're going to move on? That's him trying to be edgy.
Right.
He was trying to be edgy.
Get the viewers. I'm going to push the envelope.
Yeah, David's right. He did. I forgot that part. He did laugh all the way through it. Everybody else was looking in horror, and he thought he was giggling like he thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Based in the seduction roles are one thing. Telling the DM how you tweak the is a bit too far. Well, you know what? And here's the thing. When I was a teenager DMing, one of my friends, I'm going to name him Dave.
Adam Cole.
Dave,
Yeah, that's it. Adam Cole.
Dave wanted to seduce the bartender, and he wanted to role play it out. What does she do when we go? I'm like, dude, I am not role playing this shit. You want it, whatever. Think it out in your head. We're moving on. And
Right.
he was very maybe he was disappointed because he was enjoying my uncomfortableness. But if you want to find a position where I'm going to do this and say, "Here's my X card," it's putting because this isn't romance, right? This isn't. Oh, well, I'm going to court somebody. No, this is, do you get laid? And rules about whether you get laid in an RPG.
If that's why you're doing, look, if that's why you're playing a game and everybody around there is consenting and you all have X cards and everybody's okay with it, that's one thing. But that's not something you bring to a con. That's not something you do on a live podcast with people that don't know what's going on.
Right.
That's,
And
I wouldn't even do that in my regular group. My regular group doesn't want to, they don't want to do that. It's all dudes. Nobody's going to romance. I'm not going to romance any of those weirdos. So, no, that's not going to happen.
And here's the
I sent
thing.
you, by the way, I sent you a link.
Yep.
Eric.
That
it has the whole story. It has the whole story. If anybody wants to read about
my
it.
opinion on that is the fact that, getting laid is fun. Describing getting laid in a game is boring. At the very least. At the very most.
What is your role playing game? If your role playing game is Swords and Sorcery Fantasy, it's not required.
Right.
If you're playing Lamentations with a bunch of guys and you all are up for it and you want to get into the tentacle sex, that's totally different. That's all consent and you guys are all okay with it, fine. But that's just not something you just throw out there like, hey, we're just gonna do this. And look, the rules, it doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me because I'm not going to use these rules the same way the Book of Vile Darkness didn't bother me. I didn't use those rules. I mean, people get all pearl clutchy and stuff, but I'm not going to use those rules. I don't care. Whatever. If that's the way you want to play, that's fine. I'm going to avoid those kind of games.
Mine's sort of like I said, a variation on that was Mike Pondsmith in Teenagers from Outer Space. He said, teenagers having sex is boring. Stifling teenagers to have sex is funny.
Like by having monsters constantly attacking them.
Yeah, or something like that.
Or aliens. Yes.
A spaceship come down. Oh, it's Dad. Yeah. Anyway, we don't do that at cons anyway. So.
Yeah, this is not a license in your gangbuster game.
No.
Don't worry.
Have any romance? No romance.
I'm waiting. Since we roll them at the table now, I'm waiting for somebody to come up and roll some stuff and go, I want to play a prostitute.
Oh.
Ugh. Okay.
And I want to make money during the game.
Yeah.
Just play a flapper and go from there.
Yeah.
We're not role playing any of that tonight, kids. Sorry.
So now,
and that's what they do. Well, speaking of kids, you have to be aware of your surroundings too, right?
That's
if you're at a con, there's a good chance you're going to have an under 18 in one of your games, probably, unless your game is marked as a mature audience's only.
Yeah, I notice you can do that now on
tabletop. You can. Well, we have that, and I think that's a good tool to use. That's a good tool to use. Just have look.
Yeah.
Over 18, we're going to do this.
Matt, my friend Matt, who did the Mythgartha stuff. His Thursday game, which I attended a long time, used to have Gage in it. And then he couldn't come back because he said, why? He says, because I only want people over 18 in this game because we drink and we smoke stuff. And so Gage didn't get back until he turned 18. So, kudos for him for knowing what kind of game he runs and, addresses it appropriately.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And there are times when that is not quite the way it's run, and that especially applies to conventions, right? You really gotta, you don't want to be running an adult themed game for a bunch of a mixed table with
Right.
adults and kids.
Well,
Know your audience.
I think PG is as far as I want to take it.
Right.
Yeah. So
And look, it's just common sense, right? Look, if you're dealing with my group, we've all been playing together. Some of us 40 years, some of us 20 years, some of us 10 years. We know where to go, right? We know what lines not to cross, what lines to cross,
yeah.
where we're going to go with this. We're not going to do romance, obviously. We don't care. They're there to do tactical. They're there to attack the bugbear lair under dark, and they're going to do tacticals. They love
So
tacticals. They love
so
setting everybody up. Okay, draw out the room, and here's where this is, and we're going to do this, and that's what they love to do. They don't want to do romance. They don't
right.
want to do that kind of role playing.
So this table in 5e now for dating, people can point at once again they can point at one and he says, well, you got the prostitute table over here. But the point is, yeah, it kind of makes it official, but is this another DEI attempt?
I mean, I don't know if it's. I mean, what's DEI actually? I mean, I think we get caught up in stuff like that. Why?
Yeah.
What's the? Who
Yeah,
cares?
I've seen the argument that this is a way to push safety tools, like including this, right? Because once you include sexual situations, now you better have safety tools at your table because you absolutely need it.
the stuff is coming up that didn't used to come up.
Yeah,
That's the
and
thing.
it's very awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm a prude, but when I play my RPGs, I'm it's the classic playing
Dave.
of killing shit and stealing their stuff, which is
Right.
now a bad thing, by the way. And a lot of these.
Well, it's very colonial of you. That's very colonial of you,
Yes.
Eric. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
5e sex workers are people too.
See, this is why Puritans never played role-playing games and Amish still don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The Amish still don't. Do we know that for certain? I guess we know that.
I can probably much. Well,
Role
hell, you go to the poker.
Amish Society News at 11.
Yeah. I was going to say, Eric, you go to the Poconos. Have you seen any Amish playing role-playing?
You know what? The nearest Amish market's about a 40-mile drive. So I've only been there once, so I couldn't tell you.
But,
and I never thought of asking the people behind the counter. By the way, do you play D&D? That satanic game? Do you play that thing?
yeah, you can, loaded question right there. Base D&D is right. He says one major component of DEI policy is pushing fetishism in places it doesn't belong. And that is true. Sometimes I think there are people out there are looking for DEI where looking for that kind of thing where there isn't. And that's kind of gets.
Look, we're kind of entering the phase now of gaming and I was just telling Eric this before the show, is that I don't really care anymore about how people run their games, and I'm not going to get offended by it or flipped out about it or pound the table or rant about it, because I really don't care how you want to run your Paizo game, how you want to run your 5e game, because I don't play those games anymore.
Right.
I'm pretty much exclusively OSR. I do OSR stuff. And, you run your game however you want to run your game. I don't, there's some people that are just eternally, pissed off and eternally, mortified at what people are doing with their game. But what's the point? Just move on. Just say, okay, well, that's not how we do
it. They're mentioned something about Genghis Khan. I don't get it, but something about
Genghis Khan is a convention in Colorado.
Well,
apparently there was some problem.
Will not be.
Oh, I didn't know. I haven't heard anything about Genghis Khan. It's a big con.
Is it?
Yeah, but Genghis Khan's been going around. That's been going around a long time. It's a pretty big con in Colorado. Yeah, Luke used to go there quite a bit. I don't know if Luke still goes there anymore, but I know that used to be.
And it's in Colorado.
What do they have? What's the deal? They have safety tools there, or why are people flipping?
I don't know. I do not know. I'm sure our viewers will enlighten us here in a moment.
Well, usually when I see safety tools being advertised, it's not for a game session that would need safety tools. Like you'd expect, if you're telling me, hey, we're going to include sexual encounters, yes, I want my safety tools. If you say this adventure includes spiders, if you have that much of an issue with spiders, that's something that a safety tool isn't going to help you with. You know, there's just
The best safety tool of all is just common sense, and then a lot of people don't
That's
have that,
right.
Eric. They
right.
don't
Well,
have common sense.
but
You know,
and safety tools come from where? What community brought safety tools into the mix? The swinging slash BDSM communities. They brought safety tools into the mix. So
Mm.
it comes from a sexual background. So this NPC codex just brings that to its apex in the gaming, right? It just
Right.
comes full swing. So, we're including sex in here. So, and since the reason why we had safety tools is because of sexual gratification amongst, semi-random partners, we need to include that in our gaming.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
Well, which makes sense if that's what you're into and that's what you want to do. Like I said, that's you just don't want somebody walking in cold to a situation that they're not going to be into. There's a story. So years ago, this is a true story too. At a Game Hole Con, one of the private boardrooms late at night had a Rocky Horror Picture Show role
right.
playing game, and a friend that we know, I'll tell you the name later, attended this, not really knowing much about it. She did not. Oops, I outed her. She did not know that this is a long time community that had been meeting at the con a long time, and there was a huge BDSM component to this.
Faction.
And so when she got there and started, set up for the game, people started coming in dressed like the characters, which okay, whatever, dressed like the
Cosplay, yeah.
but it was very risque. Some of the outfits were very risque. And like I said, this is a late night game, like on a Friday or Saturday night. It was at the hotel in one of the little boardrooms. And as the game started, it started getting off the rails quickly, like way off the rails. And so she excused herself to go to the restroom and never went back. Just kept on rolling down the hall because it got way out of her comfort zone.
Yeah.
But the problem was she signed up for a game that wasn't properly labeled that, hey, this is going to have some really strong sexual content. It helps if this, that, whatever. I mean, she just kind of rolled into this without,
But
any background or knowledge.
here's the thing, Mike. Would the convention have allowed a game with a strong sexual content?
So the game, so afterwards, the game was reported by not just her but a couple other people to management, and I do not think that game is run anymore. It is that heavily sexualized a role playing game,
Right.
the way they're running it.
And that's the thing too, right? Like this group, whoever's running this game, they knew that this game would never get put on the schedule if they described it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't.
Let's just say one of the activities involved taking garters off some of the cosplay actresses, and that was like one of the activities was to take the garters off the. So so there's actually touching involved. There's touching. It got a little and so she was like, I'm gonna go to the restroom. I'll get something to eat, and then like just kept on walking. Grab your stuff.
This is the kind of thing where I want to get new gamers in, and they ask me about it, and I have to say with a straight face, yeah, it's a game for the entire family.
Well, apparently this game had been run at several game holes without a problem.
What?
But I think,
really?
Because I think it was the same people that always attended. This is just the first time they got new people in that were just like, oh, I want to try out Rocky Horror Picture Show. And they're like, whoa, I did not know what I was signing up for. And it wasn't, it's probably not appropriate to run at a convention, even as a private game, because people could always walk into rooms. They can, you know what I'm saying? You're not completely private. And like my friend, you could always sign up for things that you don't really know about. And then you're like, oh, this is way over the top.
Yeah.
Like I said, they were reported by several people, and it was, the kosher was put on that from there on out. They're like, we're not comfortable having this game at a what a quote, a family convention. If you want to play in your own home or your own hotel room, hey, go for it.
Hey, do what you want in the hotel room.
Yeah.
I don't care. As long as it's
That's
legal,
Tower
I guess.
Press. I'll be specific about Genghis Khan. After our party told I was running games wrong if I didn't accommodate various learning disabilities. Theater of the mind was not a good way to go. Kind of flabbergasted.
Huh.
Yeah, I'd have to know the particular. This sounds interesting, but we don't really know the particulars. But yeah, I I know Genghis Khan's been around a long time. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about it. I don't know much about it. They've been around a long time, and
Right.
there's probably cliques involved in different
Oh yeah.
groups, and that's what happens. To a lot of these cons too is they get, that this is the group that always plays this, and they all get together and like I
Right.
think that's the way that Rocky Horror Picture Show was. Well, we always play this, and it was the same 15 people, and they just didn't know that 3 or 4 people from outside their clique were going to join.
What's the one that would come every year? Knights and Knaves Ale House.
Yeah, the Knights and Knaves group. Yeah,
but they had their, all these groups. If they're like that, they had their own thing, and they were well.
They have their own rule. They have their own room. They sponsor their own room. They run like really old school games. We're talking OD&D. They run pretty much only OD&D games. They don't run. They may run first edition AD&D, but nothing past first edition. It's all old school.
No problem. But and who else? The Royal Dragoons. They would sponsor it, but anybody can run.
You can run whatever you want to run in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, but anybody can come in. I mean, I used to. There's a couple of years. I want to run my game. Will you put me in this room with them? That kind of thing. Because some of these groups are pretty accommodating. They're not really cliquish. So that's, yep.
Well, it's just like I say, it's a cautionary tale about what you should allow in your cons. And, it's hard. The bigger con you get, the harder it is to keep watch on this stuff because you can't, you can't know what every game is going to be and what every person is. So it's tougher the bigger you get a con. These things are going to slip through,
right?
But that's why I think that these different tools came about because it's for con play mostly. And I mean, if you're running a game at home, you pretty much know your audience. Maybe if you have somebody new in, you can explain here's what the game's about. We're going to do this or that. But if you bring somebody new in your game and the first thing you start doing is an explicit rape scene, that's on you. That's on you not having the common sense to not do something like that. I shouldn't have to X card you at that point. I shouldn't have to X card you because you should be smarter enough to do something that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, but some people, man, I mean, I find the gaming community not more any different than the any other hobbyist community where you're going to have people like that in there. A very minority, but you're going to have people like that in there.
I always find people like that. It's really weird, Glenn, because they always don't understand what they did, type of thing. Yeah. Like sometimes they really don't, and it could be for any number of reasons, but they don't understand what they did wrong. They're like, I shouldn't have graphically described the rape scene, but I was trying to get across what a bad villain this was. But yeah, you don't understand the social contract you entered in here when you got sat down at the game table.
I could do 10 different things a villain can do and not show
absolutely
show that.
Yes.
That would make
a lot of times it's just ignorance, and a lot of times just absolute ignorance. Yeah. It's not getting social cues. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. We have a lot of a lot of autistic gamers now. We have a lot of ADHD, people that don't get social cues as much, and that happens. It does happen.
As far as people, I can't remember if I saw this in Dragon or one of the different worlds or whatever. There was an article on how to run a game convention or how to organize a game convention, and they were talking about the venue and how to talk to people who run the venue, whether it's a hotel or whatever. They say, you want to send the people who are like part of the mainstream and stuff. So you want to keep Carl, the guy who cosplays as a Nazi, away when you're talking, about getting a venue.
Well, it reminds me of another thing. When Doug and I were looking for a new venue for the convention one year before we moved to the Marriott, we went to a hotel in Dallas, just barely in Dallas, actually. It's probably more in Irving. Mm-hmm. And they were real leery about talking just about, you're running an RPG convention. Could you talk to this person? So we had a meeting with 3 different people. It was the con director, it was the convention director, I don't care. There's 3 people there. And so we're explaining what the con is. And they just kind of went, oh, okay. Well, we were worried, like, what's going on? They said, well, apparently the year before they'd had a Vampire the Gathering LARP there, and it was the whole hotel was part of the LARP. And so instead of just running their LARP, for their people, they were running it like they were walking up to randos, and I'm a vampire. I'm going to bite you, and they're like, "Yeah, stay away from my kids. I want to punch you in the face." I mean, that kind of stuff. And so they had a lot of problems with it, and they had vowed that they were no longer going to do gaming conventions because that's what they didn't know what gaming was, and that's what they knew. We said, no, we're a bunch of 50-year-old fat guys playing. Okay, we're cool. That's good.
That's why the killer game got banned. Remember Killer?
But I mean, people running the vampire game. Why are you letting your people run under? You should have said, look, no normies. Don't get the normies involved. We don't want, Mom, Pa, Kettle from Kansas to, get approached by a vampire at 3 a.m. when they're out to get ice. So we're just going to keep it here. That basically, literally, that was one of the things that had happened. Was that a grandma or something went to get ice at 2 a.m. and a vampire accosted her in the hallway. So because I guess they thought they were being kick-ass and cool. But you're like, once again, common sense. Come on, man.
But common sense is not very common. Right?
If it was common, it would be.
It's a dumb stat for many people. It's like common sense.
Dumb stat.
I don't need that. That's my dumb stat.
One of my ex-girlfriend used to say, she says good sense. She said if it was common, everybody would have it.
Well, all right.
True. So anyway.
True.
Let's see.
No, it is something that is overlooked, right?
Yes.
Like, why should I put my high school in charisma? Common sense, good sense. Oh, who needs that? I'll make wisdom.
Poorly ran, poorly coordinated, and people messing with others for fun and no common sense.
Oof.
That sounds about right.
There you go.
Yeah. But we got a lot of common sense in North Texas. What?
Listen, true story from TotalCon. One of our bartenders, who was a very nice guy, and occasionally would have a heavy pour, and was fine. Apparently on Friday night, somebody stiffed him on $150 bar tab.
Oh.
So he was being very like on top of your bill when it was next to you, and you pay. And we asked him, "Was there anything wrong?" He goes, and he told us, like, I got stiffed. So my bar tab came to for Rach and I. We bought Alan Hammock a pint of Guinness. Came to like $42. So I put 60 down and told Rach, tell him to keep it. So when he came, he's like, "Let me get you change." And she's like, "Keep it." He's like, "What?" I go, like, "Listen. Whoever screwed you over may have been one of our convention gamers, may not have been, but we want you to know that as a community, that's not how we want to be known."
Right.
And that's it. Like when you're going to a convention, you're, even as an attendee, you're representing the convention. The convention's image isn't just made by the organizers; it's made by the attendees. And if you are a bunch of fuckwads and assholes, and you trash the fuck, you think that we're a heavy metal band with gamers, and I got my long hair in my 70s, and you trash the fucking place, or you act like assholes,
right?
Who won't be asked back? Why would you do that? Honestly, why would you do that? Now, maybe the person that walked off on the bar tab, maybe they were so boxed, and I doubt it. If you have a bar tab like that, you were buying drinks for people,
right?
And then you decided to skip off on it. You're an asshole.
Yeah, very much.
But we weren't the only ones that tipped in extra. A number of people did, because when they heard what happened, thanks for our questioning, everybody's like, no.
Keep it.
If you're a server, if you work in these locations, and the till is short, it comes out of your pocket.
Hell yeah, that's what sucks. Yeah.
So you're not fucking the corporation when you walk off in your bar tab, okay? You're not going, "I hit the man, that hotel, that Best Western, well, I got them." No, you didn't get them. You got the man that was serving you drinks and trying.
Yeah,
to
that's one of the shitty. That's one of the shittiest things you could do. Literally, that to walk a tab is beyond shitty. It's just that's miserable human being status.
I never walked it. I never had. Well, I've never walked a tab. But they usually they take your ID or your credit card or something like that.
A lot of times they used to not in the past. I remember going to a bar years ago and we accidentally walked a tab because everybody else thought they had it. And then we got the next day, we said, who paid for last night? And nobody said. So we went up there the next day and asked for the waiter. I think it was a waiter, not a waitress, and apologized and gave him a whole handful of cash. Said, here you go, man. And he's like, oh man, thanks so much. And this, that. But I noticed nowadays they take your credit card. They're not screwing around anymore. That used to be the days.
That was pretty much.
You can charge it to your room, but we were paying cash. A lot of people were just paying cash, and somebody just walked off on that. And I mean, I never experienced. The first time I experienced that was probably, I don't know, 25 years ago. I was at like I don't know, a Chili's or something like that with my girlfriend at the time, and the server comes up to us and goes, did you see where those people at that table went? Oh, I think the guy got up for the bathroom at some point. He goes, they just walked out in their tab. They just walked out in their check. They both did the separate dips. He walked to the bathroom, and she walked off, and then they just left. So here I am, leaving an extra $10 in my tip because I know this person is going to be screwed.
Yeah.
And it sucks because hopefully it's in human nature. We want to do well by our fellow man. We want to reward good service. And it sucks when you have to also suddenly pick up somebody else who's being a total dickwad and say, listen, the whole world isn't like this person.
But by the way, we had somebody killed on a walk tab many years ago nearby. It's in a place nearby. Yeah, there's a Chili's restaurant, and there was a girl serving a table of 4 teenagers, or not teenagers, in their early 20s, and they skipped out in the tab. And the policy at the time was, like Eric said, if you skipped the tab, you paid for it. And the waitress was a working girl. She ran out to the car and jumped on the hood, and they took off, and she flew off, hit her head, and died.
Wow.
And they caught them, and they went to prison. And the one girl, the driver, I think she got, the parents of the girl that died said they did not want to ruin her life. And she was absolutely devastated over what she'd done because she didn't think that was going to happen. But I believe she still got 16 years in prison.
Wow.
And she's due for parole in about 10 years or so. But yeah, it's not cool, man. It's not cool.
Well, Eric Vanishing Tower says your volume's low.
Yeah, no, I thought.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
It is a little bit, but
Just saying.
Eric and Glenn and I are really loud, so we made up for it.
I'm sorry, I'm such.
Yeah, but I put the mic way over here. Yeah.
Ivan? Did you guys have to deal with a drunk or a high participant in an open gaming table at a convention?
Yeah, me.
Glenn did too. I remember Glenn's story. If I
no, I was the drunk guy at the table.
You were the drunk. No.
Yeah, remember the Knob Hill incident?
That wasn't bad. No, I had a guy one time in my B1 game who got the table loaded, kept drinking, and he did the I'm going to go do what I want to do. I don't care what the party wants to do thing. And so I'm running a game, and he's going, I'm going to go off here and do this. And I resolved to get him killed as quickly as possible because I don't like to do the separating table. It's all about me. And I want to do this thing because everybody else is like, okay, we're going to go path A. No, man, I'm going to path B. And I just start running down the hall, screaming, running my sword. And so the next thing he ran into was a group of orcs that actually was down that hallway. And he was first level, and there was 4 orcs, and he just got cut into pieces. And then he was all sad. And I said, we were up with another character? No, I think I'm just going to go to bed. Like, oh, that's a good idea.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Because I don't dig that. Nah, if you're drinking, Glenn, you weren't a distraction. You were funny when you were drinking in my game.
Well, I'm not a mean drunk. I'm just a
no. You were a happy, fun drunk.
Funny drunk. Yeah, happy.
Yes,
drunk.
you were. You were very funny. You were fun and funny.
Yeah, take your mic out of the cracker box.
I refuse to take my mic out of the cracker box. damn it.
No, keep it in the cracker box.
But anyway, everybody come to North Texas. Just overload the walk-up table.
Is my mic better now?
There you go. Oh wow, I can hear you. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shut up! All
I
right,
can't hear you.
My
You're loud.
mic was apparently set down too low, so I'm.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can hear you so much better now. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay.
I should have said something earlier. Dang.
Yeah, it's okay, and right just in time for me to say we got to log off because I got.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I got
We're
to
done.
get what I got to do. Our Dotson is having arthritis problems with her hind legs,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
the
Well,
medication that
Which
we're
will
taking,
happen. That will happen.
yeah. So she's old. We got her in. We got the notification that we were getting her at our first North Texas in 2014.
Oh.
So
Well, my poor little dachshund, her back went out when she got to be about 15, and there's nothing they can do. They had to put her down. I mean, it was really sad because she's fine one day, and then she just jumped up one day, went "Arr!" and then couldn't walk right. We're like, "What's wrong?" And they said, "Oh, her back's out." Like, okay, well, but they can fix that. Like, no, we can't fix it. I'm like, oh, well, fuck.
Yeah.
So we had to put her down. It was really sad. But they said dachshunds, because of their body shape, they get arthritis a lot and they get back problems a lot and all kinds of stuff. It sucks. Yeah, it really sucks.
Anyway,
I miss my doggy.
I guess we have to go.
We got to go.
Come to North Texas.
Tomorrow night, Talking Fred tomorrow night. Me, Eric, and Jim.
Yeah, that too.
And
I'll
then,
be running gangbusters with the new second edition, by the way, BX. So
woohoo. Yeah,
I'm supposed to be getting that in April.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, folks. By the way, we're doing I'm doing shorts on this channel, but the shorts are all snippets of longer videos. So if you don't do the live streams so much, or last of the whole ones,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do it, and yes, that's a valid use of AI to find the best parts of these live streams and cut it out. So
nice.
We're doing that.
You have to show me how to do that sometime.
All right, folks. On that note, be safe and well. God bless.
Good night. Good night, folks.
Be good.